Alright, and welcome back to the forecast card. Solid day. We went 4-0 in college basketball. Butler ends up winning in a really tight contest. Boise State completely runs away with the game. And I think they end up winning this game by 30. Nebraska ends up winning by 8. It looked a little bit shaky for a while there, but the depth really locked in the second half. In Washington State, man, Mac tried to make it a game. That was crazy. Malik Mack puts up 37 points on Georgetown despite them missing a few players. Um, Ends up winning the game for them outright. Thank God we got the plus 3.5 before a couple of the Georgetown people got ruled out. But yeah, one of those games, man. Butler, their best player was ruled out like last second, and they still ended up winning outright. So almost got screwed there by the last minute injury. But luckily, that last minute injury ends up being the difference in the Washington State game, so kind of balances out, especially if Butler had lost. But yeah, 4-0, we take it, especially after the way the last couple of days went. So yeah, let's get into the 5 games that I like for tomorrow and one lean. All right, heading on to game number 1, we have Oregon State versus UCF. Now, this shit's pretty hard to cap, if I'm being honest, because of how many people are on the transfer portal. Can't really use data much, but I'm going to lean with UCF here. Oregon State, Rataj is going to be gone. Fala is going to be gone. Kings is going to be gone. Their 3 lead scorers are all going to be gone. Nobody else on their team averages more than 10 points. So they're definitely going to be struggling this game, having to kind of adapt to how to play together. You know, who knows how good some of these kids really are. They could come out of nowhere and do really well. You kind of saw that in the Georgetown game. A couple randos really, stood up and performed at a pretty high level. On the other side, UCF, they have their main guy who's going to be out. So Keyshawn Hall has joined the transfer portal, so he won't be playing. But they're still going to have pretty much their 3 leading scorers. They're going to have Thiam, Ivy Curry, and Johnson. All are still going to be in this game. So they're going to have 3, 2 guards and a forward that are all above 10 point per average, compared to Oregon State that's going to have basically nobody that's averaged over 10 in this game. Yeah, even then, if both these rosters were fully healthy, I would like UCF. Model has them winning this game by 4.9. The spread is 4.5. Yeah, I think I like the spot for UCF. Obviously, this is a much larger travel spot for UCF. But again, Oregon State, when they're not playing at home, they've been really, really bad. It should be like a 70% Oregon State crowd, if there really is any crowd. But again, Oregon State's been the way better team than off the year. They got all the momentum. They're consistent. They're super fast paced, which is going to throw off this Oregon State team that's going to be trying to figure out how to play together, losing 3 starters. UCF has played the significantly harder schedule. They've been the better team. Pretty much everything about this, in my opinion, leans towards UCF. Oregon State theoretically should dominate the boards, but again, they're losing 2 of their guys that kind of dominate the boards. Rataj averages 7 boards a game. Fala averages 4 boards a game. Those are 2 tallest players, so I don't think they're actually going to have that big an edge on the boards. Obviously, UCF is going to be losing their lead rebounder as well, but they're still going to have Thiam, who's a pretty tall guy, averages 6 rebounds a game, 7'2". Beast, I think they're going to end up dominating the boards here. I think Oregon State gets much smaller, losing their starting roster, while UCF gets a lot taller. So, or not necessarily a lot taller, but they stay roughly the same height. A lot of their bench players are high 6 feet. So, yeah, I think UCF wins this game. Obviously, anything could happen in this game because it's a random tournament game, and we don't really have a lot of data on a lot of these players for more than a few minutes. But on paper, UCF retaining a lot more of the roster. I think they have the better coach. Yeah, they're traveling 2,000 miles for this game, but Oregon State's still traveling 700. It's not like it's super close for them. I'm not actually sure if UCF had traveled before this, but again, UCF, they lost to Kansas in their tournament, so much more respectable loss than Oregon State that lost to Pepperdine. Both these teams are going to have like 3 weeks rest. Not really going to be too much to look at here. Again, Oregon State, an elite favorite covering team, 14-8, but only 5-4 as dogs. They're going to be dogs in the spot. They're going to be missing basically everybody that matters. In this line, the way it's kind of moving kind of makes me think that, UCF is the right side here. So who knows what happens? Again, some random ass people. I wouldn't bet very much on these games, but again, UCF has been the better team, has played harder competition, and they're going to have a lot more of the roster here. And again, I would take the faster paced team because Oregon State is just not going to have that synergy that they're used to. So, yeah, give me. I also kind of like the over because I think Oregon State's pace is going to change completely because their entire roster is going to be different. So, I might actually end up betting the over as well. But I think it's like a 160. That's a little bit high for these type of teams, especially with UCF being a top 100 defense and theoretically Oregon State being one of the slower teams in college basketball. Who knows? Maybe the coaching style is the problem. So, give me UCF minus 4.5. I think this should be, on paper, a very one-sided game. Big 12 versus West Coast. All right, heading on to game number 2, we have Villanova versus Colorado. Now, this is a complete opposite. Both teams fully healthy. Couple bench player injuries, but nothing significant. Obviously, Colorado finished off the year on a really high note. They played a really tough schedule in the Big 12. But when I look at the way these two teams like to score, again, the three ball pisses me off because if the three balls are falling, this is going to be an easy win for Villanova. But the way I look at this game, Colorado, they're a team that relies heavily on offensive boards to score, forcing turnovers, and shooting in the paint. And these are all things that Nova defends well. They're top 100 paint defense, top 100 in limiting turnovers, and top 20 on their own boards. They also don't foul too much, ranked 82nd in free throws allowed. Colorado, a pretty good free throw shooting team, and they should get to line a decent bit. But the one thing Villanova doesn't defend well is the mid-range, and it's a shot that Colorado only takes like 20% of the time. On the other side, Villanova, again, they're a team that shoots a ton of threes. They're the 8th best in three-point percentage in college basketball against a Colorado team that has struggled to defend the three, ranked 126th. Obviously, Colorado is a big team, elite in defending the paint, but Villanova is not a team that likes to shoot. Their average proximity, they're 357th, so they're a team that plays really far. Almost all of their shots come from the three and mid-range. That's where they like to shoot. And those are the two spots that Colorado historically has struggled at defending. Outside of that, Nova also get one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country, 81st, number 2 in college basketball, shooting 81%. Colorado fouls a lot, ranked 277th in free throws allowed. Nova doesn't really get to line that much, but if they do get to line, they're going to have a much greater success here. So I'm going to rely here on the better offensive team. Colorado obviously Colorado's a better defensive team, but it doesn't seem like they're that better where it matters. Nova does not a team that wants to get offensive boards. That's something that Colorado does really well. They're not a team that likes to score in the paint, so I'm going to give this to Villanova. I think they slowed this pace down. Colorado's going to have to try to score in the paint against a Nova team that's actually pretty good at defending the paint. So if their mid-ranges aren't falling, they're not going to get to line much. They're not going to get a lot of offensive boards. I think Villanova is 100% the play here, with Dixon kind of carrying as the best player on the court. So again, Villanova, not a very consistent team. If the threes aren't falling, this could be a one-sided game where Colorado wins by 20. But I'm kind of banking on the fact that this team has been pretty consistent from three, and they're just a pretty elite offense. A bunch of shooters. I think they want some money for the Villanova org. So give me Villanova first half. They're an elite first half team. If you look at these two teams' power ratings in terms of halves, Villanova first half is a top 35 team, while Colorado is 136th. Second half, Villanova falls to 67th, while Colorado improves to 45th. So it seems like Villanova's a team that definitely comes out of the gate much hotter. On paper, this is going to be a bit more of a home game for Colorado, but again, still 600 miles away in Las Vegas. I think Villanova here is going to step up and come out hot, blazing from three. So Villanova first half -2 is my play in this game. All right, heading on to game number 3, we have USC versus Tulane. Now, this is another weird one. Tulane, they're going to be missing two of their top 5, two of their starters. Caleb Banks, their second leading scorer, but more importantly, their leading rebounder is going to be out. And another one of their starters, Cam Williams, is going to be out. He averages 9, 4, and 1, shooting 50% from the field. He's going to be a big miss for them. USC, for the most part, is going to be fully healthy in this game. And this is basically going to be a home game for them. Tulane traveling pretty far for this game, 1,500 miles, where they've lost the last 4 games by a pretty big margin whenever they've had to travel over 700 miles. And USC is only going to be playing 100 miles away from home, or 200 miles away from home, so big advantage for USC. again, on paper, USC has played obviously in a significantly tougher conference than Tulane. Tulane looked really good to end off the year, but they're going to be missing two other players. USC, Big Ten team, has played some really, really tough teams. Obviously, if you look purely at the stats, it's kind of tough too on the Tulane side because, again, they're going to be missing infinite players. But, yeah, I think this is just a spot here where USC, one of the best offensives in college basketball, top 15 in field goal percentage, elite three-point shooting team, really good on the offensive boards. On paper, Tulane is a pretty good team offensively as well, but they're going to be missing a lot of their size here. Again, kind of a tough spot for them. USC, again, has played tons of really good competition. I think they're going to find success scoring where they typically want to try to end off this year on some kind of high note. Again, USC, if you look at the power ratings, is a really good first half team. Again, the 10th, 53rd best team in the first half. And Tulane ranked 169th in the first half rating. They're definitely a team that picks it up in the second half. USC, their away rating top 60. Tulane barely top 150. They've been pretty bad on the neutral court. Rely heavily on home advantage for having the number one home advantage in college basketball. In their conference, I should say. They finished off the year looking good, but again, most of those games were kind of meaningless. They beat FAU, who's looked terrible. They beat UAB barely. They beat it by 17, but they beat them at home. They still have losses to East Carolina. They barely lost to Memphis in the tournament, but USC had a much more reasonable loss. Losing to Purdue by 5, a team that's made it pretty far in the tournament, and barely lost. So. To Houston. So, yeah, give me USC here, first half minus 4.5. I think they lock in early. I think they're going to have a lot more of the talent, and Tulane's going to take a little while here to get their synergy back, while USC, for the most part, is going to be a full roster again, who's been the better team, who's played better teams, and has a pretty good matchup here against a Tulane team that's going to be losing a lot of their size. So, USC first half minus 4.5 is my play in this game. All right, heading on to game number 4, we have North Texas versus UC Irvine. I'm going to take the first half under in this game, just as a precursor. Again, these are two teams. I have the total modeled at 125. But again, if you look at a little into it, again, these two teams haven't played in 3 weeks, so I think their offense is going to come out extremely slow. North Texas plays third slowest pace in all of college basketball. Really, really slow. UC Irvine plays relatively quickly, but again, who knows how fast they're going to be coming out here on the road. Both these teams, top 50 defensive teams, not even top 100 offensive teams. I think both teams are going to lock each other up on defense. Both teams don't give up a lot of free throws. My only concern, and why I'm kind of taking the first half here, is that both these teams are elite free throw shooting teams. So if this game is close, which I think it's a 1.5 line, the books are expecting this to be a back and forth game. I don't want to be on the other end here of back and forth free throws. I do like the first half. And furthermore, if you look at the matchup here, in terms of power ratings, both these teams are second half teams. UC Irvine ranked 120th in the first half, top 60 in the second half. North Texas, again, also top 120 in the first half, top 70 in the second half. So both these teams historically have started out really slow, playing really grindy defense. In terms of travel, both these teams are going to be traveling pretty far. So neither team's going to have much of a home edge, 800 miles, 1,800 miles. That's going to be tough for both these teams historically. On paper, they've been both better road teams, which kind of scares me. But again, this is going to be a bit of a neutral court experience, not necessarily a road game. So I don't know if the crowd's necessarily going to be all in on this one. If you look at their last few games, North Texas, really low-scoring games. They kept Oklahoma State to 59, Arkansas State to 73, Furman to 64, 66. All of these were much lower first-half totals, too. UC Irvine's been kind of putting up a lot of points, which kind of concerns me, but they have not played a defense as good as North Texas in a long time. The last time they had a really good defense was UCSD, and they held them to 61 points. So I think this is going to be a very grindy first half. I'm hoping that UC Irvine doesn't try to pick up the heat too much. But again, as away teams in terms of totals, North Texas 3-9 to over, 9-3 to the over under, and UC Irvine 7-10 in combined 2-7 to the under on neutral site. So I think this should be a really low-scoring game. Both teams due for some negative regression offensively. Both teams are second half teams, and both teams are coming into this pretty ice cold. So hopefully one half's the right side. I think this should be like a 24-22 first half. Obviously, unders, anything could happen. One guy could just get hot from three. Both teams do have some good shooters, but I'm hoping the defense prevails here. So give me first half under 60 in this game. All right, heading out to game number 5. This is going to be a really weird one. On paper, I think these teams are really even. I have Loyola Chicago winning this game by 1. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is my most confident spot here. But on paper, both these teams are pretty healthy. Both are going to be losing like one bench player. Champion, pretty good player for Chattanooga. It's a game time decision. It's a pretty solid. I wouldn't say it's that important. But again, he's basically been undisclosed since March 8th. I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to play in this one. Maybe he will because now there's money on the line. And Loyola, Illinois will be without Huinsu, if I'm pronouncing that right, who's also a starting point guard. So both these players going to be missing a decent piece, but again, nothing too crazy compared to some of the other games. On paper here, Loyola Chicago is due for a lot more regression than Chattanooga. Again, Chattanooga has been one of my favorite teams. Both these teams are really solid offensively. But again, Loyola Chicago's got the way better defense. Chattanooga's got the way better offense. Chattanooga field goal percentage of 35%, ranked 35th with 48%. Loyola Chicago ranked 107th. That being said, Loyola Chicago does have a much better defense, so it's really hard to tell. But again, Chattanooga, really good free throw shooting team, 14th best in college basketball. Loyola Chicago, a really bad free throw shooting team, 317th in college basketball. I do like that. Hopefully Chattanooga, if they do play really physical, if they get to line a lot, I think they'll find some success. Again, this is probably, in terms of my 5 bets, my least confident one. Again, it's kind of a weird line. In terms of travel, not really far for either team. 160 miles away from Loyola, 300 for Chattanooga. Probably be pretty split in terms of activity. Both teams finished off the year extremely hot. Chattanooga, since January 25th, has only dropped 1 game, and that was a 3-point loss to Furman on a neutral court. Loyola Chicago has only dropped 4 games since then. And those are against VCU, St. Louis, Duquesne, and George Mason, all pretty solid teams. So this is going to be a good one. Both these teams a lot less rested than the rest. Loyola Chicago hasn't played since the 26th, Chattanooga the 35th, so a slight rest here. But again, Chattanooga 9-1 as road dogs. Loyola Chicago 3-2 as away favorites. On neutral courts, Loyola Chicago is 2-4 against the spread. Chattanooga is 1-1 against the spread. Again, nothing crazy in terms of leans here. The way the lines kind of moved kind of makes me lean Chattanooga. Again, not significant line movement, but again, I don't know. It's gonna be a really weird game. I don't think offensively Chattanooga matches up well, but so does Loyola Chicago. It really depends on which team's going to be shooting better. We're going to stick with Chattanooga here. They've just been really, really good, and Loyola Chicago has sometimes showed signs of being potentially not as good as their record suggests. So I'm going to lean on Chattanooga plus 2.5 for this matchup. All right, and just to review, the 5 bets that I have are UCF minus 4.5, Villanova first half minus 2, USC first half minus 4.5, first half under 60 in North Texas versus UC Irvine, and Chattanooga plus 2.5. In terms of a lean in the other game, I'm going to lean DePaul plus 9.5. Model has it as like an 8.5 point win for Cincinnati, but I can easily see them winning this game by like a bajillion and a half. So really no interest in betting that one. I think it'll be a fun one to watch maybe, because DePaul ended off the year looking really good, but so did Cincinnati. Not sure which team is going to be more motivated for this game. I do like to think that DePaul might be more motivated because they did have a bit of a rough season. So did Cincy, but again, who knows which team's going to want to win. But yeah, I'm not going to bet it. DePaul is a really weird team that seems to only be able to beat Georgetown, being honest. So DePaul plus 9.5 is my lead on that one. But yeah, that's everything for the games for tomorrow. hopefully we can go 4-0 or 6 or 5-0 again. It was kind of nice to have a solid day after a bit of a rough Friday, Thursday, and then the break on the weekend. So definitely coming back, feeling a bit better, a bit more confident again. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.